heard, and I wonder what your reaction to it was. There was a party at Daniel Dubois' house, ordered by his father, with about 70 people at the house.
The day of?
The day of. The afternoon
impossible.
of. The afternoon
Was
of.
Daniel there?
Yes.
Was Daniel there?
Daniel couldn't have been around.
And the people that
that's-
were there were not known to Daniel, to such a point that Daniel actually asked his father if he could go out for a drive because he didn't know anybody there.
That is insane. Sorry.
And then beyond that, you'll see footage of it. The entourage, this party that Daniel doesn't seem to know anybody of, were all coming to the fight, but they weren't allowed in the arena. And so on the way in, they're being asked by security as to the reasons why they come in, and Daniel is being stopped and told, I think his father told security, that unless you let these guys in, he's not fighting.
Oh, that is sorry.
How disruptive.
That is a different story altogether. That is insanely disruptive. Wow.
I mean, we're talking about fighters being regimental on the day and superstitious on the day, and some fighters want to wear a ring in their laces and all that sort of stuff, and it all has to be on point.
What do you think of that? That was from TalkSport today, what you just listened to there. Simon Jordan was in the studio with Spencer Oliver, Lawrence Okoli and Joseph Parker. Now, look, how true that is, let's wait and see. But it does sound like... So the long and the short of it, they are saying in that on fight night, Stan Dubois, the dad of Daniel Dubois, had 70 people over on the day of the fight, many of whom Daniel didn't know, so he felt uncomfy in there. And to be fair, some people wouldn't, but I think a lot of people, when they're you could be just the most charismatic guy in the world, but if you are in a room with a lot of people you don't know, especially in a number like 70, which is not like, one or two people who you could go in and mingle with, you're seeing people everywhere you don't know. It is a bit off-putting, certainly is. You would feel uncomfy, and that's not what you need on the day of the biggest fight of your career. It really isn't. And then to basically bring him along to the fight, and for his dad to take charge and say, unless these people are allowed in who don't have tickets and who Daniel Dubois doesn't even know, we're not fighting tonight. That's... Daniel Dubois doesn't need that on fight day. I was watching the Daniel Lappin, I think his name was, and Lewis Edmondson. I was watching their fight. During which time, it was before I went live on Saturday night, and during which time you can see Alexander Usyk, he's getting his hands wrapped, he's going through the motions, he's in the arena, he's, going through the motions pre-fight, as many fighters are, as you would expect. This is about 8-ish, it's definitely after 8 p.m, I know that. So you're talking about 8, 8:15 in the evening. And you got to bear in mind, this is Wembley Stadium, this has a curfew. This has a curfew of 11 p.m. So they are going to make sure they're going to get this event on the road. And at this time of the evening, Daniel Dubois still hasn't arrived, which it takes long enough to wrap someone's hands, especially both of them. Then you got to get the gloves on and do a warm-up. You're literally going into this arena for the first real time. You're trying to get into kind of fighting mode, and you have roughly, an hour to get all that in? Really? There was red flags there, and you could tell, like, even in the build up to it, you could tell that there was red flags there for Team Dubois. It seemed like there was a bad omen for them, as opposed, because I remember in the build up to this fight, I was very early on, I think maybe after the first press conference, I was kind of thinking, could Team Dubois be onto something? And that just went very, very quickly. And the closer we got to this fight, as I said in one of the videos I did, I changed my mind. It just felt like the writing was on the wall, even before the weigh-in. And on fight day, it was similar. That's shocking if that's the case. So what, are you having a victory party before you've even had the fight? Really? And let's not even talk about the absolute farce of a corner. In a sense of, I'm not having to go with Don Charles, by the way, with this. I'm not turning around and saying Don Charles, no. But when you look at how the corner was for Daniel Dubois, there was all these voices. Daniel Dubois, we can suspect about Daniel Dubois, mentally what's going on there. he strikes me as someone who needs a cabin influence. He strikes me as someone who needs one voice and one voice alone that he needs to listen to, and he needs clear instructions. We saw it with Tyson Fury, and it was someone commented on a recent video, and he made a very, very good point. John Fury and Stan Dubois, two dads you just don't want in the corner because they cause absolute havoc. And words to that effect, I don't even know he quite worded it like that, but it was basically words to that effect. And he's spot on with that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Now, again, we're going to take it with a grain of salt. We're not going to say for definite that's true, but listening to Simon Jordan, it was a strange listen. And if that is the case and that has happened, good Lord. I mean, you want your fighter, regardless who they are or what you may think, you want them to be in the best headspace imaginable. You want literally that day of the fight, whether you're waking up at home or whether you're waking up in a hotel, you just want it relaxed. You want to go through the motions. You want to be calm. Maybe not even think about the fight. Have it easy. Have a laugh. All that good stuff. You don't want to be put in a situation like that. That is madness if that is the case. And I really don't know what to say if that is in fact the case. What happened on Saturday night? You've set yourself up to fail, as far as I'm concerned with that. Unbelievable if in fact that turns out to be true. And that was a revelation that was made, as I said, by Simon Jordan today. You will have heard a bit of it that I left at the start of this. Unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable if that is the case. Let me know your thoughts. Bit of breaking news. Well, I'd say breaking news, but let me know your thoughts. I felt the need to talk about this in a video today. I've got another one with Usyk that I was going to do at this time, but it's going to go out tomorrow instead. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the like button. Not a long one. Let me know your thoughts. Peace.